My graduation solo camping trip turned into a nightmare. I've always loved the outdoors. Camping, hiking, stargazing, nature has been my escape and my therapy for as long as I can remember. For my college graduation, I decided to treat myself to a solo camping trip. I'd camped solo before and was well-equipped and experienced, so it wasn't a big deal to me. This time, I picked a remote spot I'd never been to before, a dense forest area with a beautiful creek. It felt like the perfect way to celebrate. I arrived in the late afternoon, found a nice clearing near the creek, and set up my tent. As I scouted around the area, I found a few discarded camping items, a beat-up folding chair, some tarred cans, and a frayed rope. It was strange, but I'd seen similar things at other campsites. People can be messy, and I didn't think much of it. The evening was peaceful. I cooked my dinner, sat by my small fire, and enjoyed the solitude. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the forest became eerily quiet. No crickets, no frogs, just the occasional rustle of leaves in the breeze. It was odd, but I chalked it up to being in an unfamiliar place. When it was time to sleep, I climbed into my tent and tried to settle in. But in the middle of the night, I was startled awake by something hitting my tent. It wasn't loud, but it was enough to jolt me upright. My heart raced as I scanned the area through the thin fabric of the tent. Nothing. I held my breath, listening for any movement. Silence. I reasoned it must have been a branch falling or some animal scurrying by. I tried to convince myself it was no big deal and laid back down, but before I could drift off again, it happened a second time. This time I shot up and called out, "Hello? Is someone there?" No response. Then I heard it, a series of quick snapping sounds like sticks breaking as something darted away into the woods. My stomach knotted. It didn't sound like an animal. I stayed frozen for what felt like an eternity before building up the nerve to unzip my tent. Flashlight in hand, I stepped out and scanned the forest around me. Nothing. No footprints. No signs of anything out of place. But the unease in my gut was screaming at me to leave. I packed up my camp as fast as I could, shoving everything haphazardly into my bag. As I started the trek back to my car, the forest seemed darker than before. Every sound felt amplified. I kept glancing over my shoulder, my flashlight sweeping the trees, but I saw nothing. Then behind me, I heard it again, branches snapping. I spun around, shining my light into the trees. Nothing. My adrenaline surged, and I broke into a run. When I finally reached my car, I threw my gear into the trunk and jumped into the driver's seat. My hands were shaking as I started the engine. I pulled onto the dirt road, my headlights cutting through the trees. That's when I saw it. Standing just beyond the edge of the forest was a figure, tall, motionless, and staring straight at me. My chest tightened, and I slammed on the gas. I didn't stop driving until I was miles away. I'll never forget that trip. I've camped in many places, but I've never experienced anything like that. I still don't know who or what was out there that night. All I know is that I'll never go back to that forest again.
I caught my boss spying on us with hidden cameras, and now I'm terrified. It all started when the office coffee machine broke down. While searching for the maintenance log in the storage closet, I found a small, unmarked box containing a brand new surveillance camera. I assumed it was for security purposes, until I noticed a similar camera already installed in the break room ceiling. It blended in so well that I wouldn't have seen it if I wasn't looking closely. My stomach sank as I realized the implications. I replayed private moments from the break room in my head. Conversations, complaints about work, even personal moments like crying over a breakup. Was someone watching all of this? On my lunch break, I decided to look around the office more closely. Sure enough, I found cameras in several areas. Near the printers, in the hallway by the restrooms, and even in the supply closet. By the end of the day, paranoia had set in. Why weren't we told about these cameras? Was this even legal? The next morning, I confronted my boss, trying to stay casual. Their reaction told me everything I needed to know. They froze, stammered, and avoided eye contact. You weren't supposed to find out about that, they admitted, their voice low and defensive. They tried to dismiss it as a security measure, but it was clear they were lying. That evening, I stayed late, claiming I had extra work to finish. When the office was quiet, I snuck into the server room. After some searching, I found the camera feeds and hours of footage stored by date and location. To my horror, the cameras weren't limited to public areas. There were recordings from places no one would ever expect, including the restroom hallway and under desks. I managed to download some of the footage onto a flash drive before leaving, my heart racing the entire time. Now, I'm sitting at home, staring at what I recovered. It's bad. Employees in vulnerable moments, private conversations, and things that could destroy lives if leaked. I feel trapped. If I report this to HR or the police, my boss will likely know it was me, and I could lose my job or worse. But how can I stay silent? This isn't just an invasion of privacy, it's potentially criminal. I don't know what to do. Quit quietly and pretend I never found out? Go to HR? Call the authorities? Every option feels risky, and the weight of this secret is crushing me.
What started as a bachelorette weekend turned into a night we can't explain. I just got back from what was supposed to be a chill bachelorette weekend with my closest friends. We rented this adorable cabin up in the woods, think rustic charm, surrounded by towering trees, a pristine lake right behind the house, and a hot tub that was the centerpiece of our nights. The Airbnb looked perfect online, and honestly, it was. Day one was exactly what we wanted. Hiking trails winding through the forest, swimming in the lake. Water was colder than expected, but refreshing, and just relaxing. We cooked meals, drank wine on the porch, and laughed about everything and nothing. The vibe was great, totally the kind of escape we needed. That night, after dinner, we all squeezed into the hot tub. It was just the right temperature, the steam mixing with the crisp night air. We were drinking, spilling juicy gossip, and sharing stories. The kind of bonding that makes you feel closer than ever. Then, out of nowhere, Sarah, one of my friends, pulls out this old Ouija board from her bag. She's all excited about it, begging us to try it out. It'll be hilarious, great bonding experience. Plus, it's all fake, don't be scared. Honestly, we were all hesitant. The woods were already giving me slight creepy vibes, and messing around with a Ouija board felt like inviting trouble. But peer pressure is real, so we set it up on the big wooden dining table inside the cabin. Lights dimmed, candles flickering. We started with the usual questions. Is anyone there? What's your name? Nothing happened for a while, and we joked about it being a bust. Then, the planchette, the little pointer thing, started to move. Slowly at first, then more steadily. My heart jumped, but everyone immediately blamed someone else for pushing it. No, you're moving it. I swear I'm not. Everyone swore they were just lightly touching it, not guiding it. The tension in the room shifted, half excitement, half disbelief. We asked simple questions like, how many are here? And are you friendly? The answers came, spelled out letter by letter. None of us were trying to cheat or move it on purpose, but it definitely felt like something else was happening. After a while, the mood shifted from fun to unnerving. The messages got vague but ominous. Leave now, and don't trust all. We laughed it off nervously, but the hot tub outside suddenly started bubbling on its own. We had left it off earlier. Everyone froze. We decided to end the session and put the board away. But as we packed it up, the power flickered and the cabin grew colder. No one said much after that. The rest of the night was quiet, everyone too spooked to speak. In the morning, we joked about the whole thing, but honestly, I'm still unsettled. The cabin was beautiful. The weekend was perfect until that moment. I don't know if it was just our imaginations or something else.
The sting of being the ugly guy was a familiar ache, but it took one particularly brutal blind date for me to decide I was done feeling sorry for myself. I'll never forget that blind date. My friend had set it up, hyping her up as someone really sweet and down to earth. I went in with cautious optimism, thinking maybe this could be a good thing. But the moment I met her, I could see it in her eyes, disappointment. She smiled and tried to act polite, but her disgust was hard to hide. Her body language screamed discomfort, leaning away, avoiding eye contact, and giving forced little laughs at my jokes. She was nice enough to not outright insult me, but the message was clear. I wasn't what she was expecting, and she wanted the date to end as quickly as possible. I tried my best to power through, cracking jokes, asking questions, and doing everything I could to make the atmosphere less awkward. But it felt like walking on glass. Every attempt at conversation felt forced, and every moment stretched on like an eternity. When the date finally ended, she thanked me with a tight smile and practically bolted. I knew it hadn't gone well, but I still thought I'd reach out, maybe to apologize if she felt uncomfortable or just to be polite. But when I tried to message her, I realized she had already blocked me. That hurt. It wasn't just the rejection, it was the realization that my appearance was a major factor. I was tired of being the ugly guy that people tolerated. That night, something clicked. I decided I wasn't going to keep feeling sorry for myself. I started going to the gym the next day. It was slow and painful at first, but I kept showing up. I overhauled my diet, cutting out junk and focusing on clean eating. I experimented with new styles of clothing, figuring out what fit me well and boosted my confidence. I got a new haircut, ditching my old, scruffy look. Bit by bit, I transformed not just my appearance, but also how I felt about myself. Months passed, and for the first time, I liked what I saw in the mirror. Girls started looking at me differently, not with pity or disgust, but with curiosity or even interest. It felt surreal. Then, one day, I ran into her. The blind date girl. I recognized her immediately, but her reaction was priceless. She didn't know who I was. We started chatting, and it was like she was meeting me for the first time. The conversation flowed naturally, and she seemed genuinely interested. By the end, she asked for my number. That's when it hit me. She'd blocked me months ago. I told her to send me a text anyway. Watching her expression shift from confusion to horror as she realized I was the same guy she had rejected was the most satisfying moment of my life. I laughed, told her to take care, and walked away. Sometimes, life really does come full circle.